Hi, this is Irving Steele, your host of Local Issues. And Local Issues, we try and highlight good people doing good work in the community. So over the last few years, we've had hundreds of guests, and now we're up to thousands of subscribers on our YouTube channel, and most of the shows are reaching thousands of views. So we're really grateful for all the support to build a better, stronger, more positive community and focusing on different areas like the environment, healthcare, and education. And today we are very excited to have a director of the Groton Open Space Association, Dan O'Connell. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Irving. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so I'm really curious that I've always loved a lot of the different open spaces in Groton, from Bluff Point to Haley Farm. And I'm curious, what's your favorite open space in Groton, if you can name one?
Well, of course, it's going to have to be a GOSA property. My favorite one's probably Avery Farm Nature Preserve.
Okay. And is there something in particular that makes you like that spot the best?
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's a variety. As you're walking through our trails, there's a beautiful variety of through a forest for a while, alongside fields, open fields, and then by a beautiful marsh area. So you got lots of different things to look at, and very, very relaxing.
That's awesome. And then the nice part about going out into nature is having something that's really relaxing, the sound, the views, all those things are really nice. And maybe we could take a step back and talk a little bit about GOSA, Groton Open Space Association. I believe it started in 1967, so it's been around a couple of years now. You want to give a little introduction about your organization and your involvement?
I'd be happy to. Groton Open Space Association has quite a history.
Yeah.
Beginnings were back in the 60s. You could kind of put it in the same time frame as when Earth Day got kind of rolling a little bit. And a woman, her name is Sydney Van Zandt, was very much involved in trying to protect Haley Farm, Bluff Point, from development and some really shaky ideas that were being floated around. And so she led the effort, and lots of people helped her. But that's kind of how GOSA kind of got rolling, protecting land, protecting water. And so that's where the roots are. And then as you move more recently, we've become incorporated now, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and all the things that go along with being a land trust. We are still looking to protect the land and the water, but we're now doing more than that. We're looking to not just buy land to protect, but also to manage it and then make it available for our community to get out and enjoy.
And I love how you kind of mentioned community and making things available to them. That sure, there's one side of it of having this beautiful nature preserved and conserved different pieces of land, but then providing the opportunity to have a community involved and engaging and using it takes it to a whole nother level. So I'm curious a little bit, maybe you could explain to some of our viewers, why is it so important for our communities to preserve this land and conserve it and provide it for the community?
Well, there's a lot of reasons we want to take very good care of our open spaces. First, there's an interesting fact that kind of tells you where Groton is along the lines of open space and how important it is. The state of Connecticut's DEEP set a goal of 21% for each community to try to reach that amount for their open spaces, their green spaces.
Okay.
Groton's, I think, right around 20%, a little more than 20%. So we're
almost there.
Yeah, and you look around, we're a leader.
And
that's not just GOSA, that's the town of Groton has a lot of property, and we have 2 state parks, plus a land management area. So
And all that combined equals almost, over 20%.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, we're doing a great job. So you get a lot of factors. You got you have to take care of things like this if we're going to last. A lot of the properties that are open spaces weren't really great places to develop anyway. But sometimes there was an issue where, maybe it was really close to a reservoir, or, some of the planning, so the regulations that were in place years ago. You had to really keep a close eye and see what was being planned. These days, it's much more difficult for a developer to come in and do a job that overlooks protecting land and the water. But it's still very important. But,
and also, one thing I continue to hear as well, to your point exactly, with development, we're facing a lot of these issues just along the shore down I-95 in East Lyme and other places where there's a lot of emphasis to have more development. But at the same time, if you look at different data and research, it shows actually conserving and preserving some of this open space, this green space, to get to the 21% goal. It actually increases the property values of the places in town or in the city. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's so true. Wish I had the visual.
Yeah.
But there's so much green space scattered around town. Sometimes it's just a little plot of land. Other times it's a big place like Bluff Point. Anybody that lives close by, wouldn't it be nice if everybody could walk to a place where they get in the woods?
Exactly.
It's just a great resource. We saw during COVID, when people are just so stressed out, we saw the participation, people getting out on our trails just explode. It was good to see. And we're seeing great numbers already, even in the wintertime. People getting out onto the trails, and that goes for anybody.
And that's a great point as well, is even on top of kind of increasing property values and making the town or city a great place to be, having these trails and open spaces really provides an amazing health opportunity for the community, where you can go out, you can walk on the trails, you can take the dogs on the trails, you can run, you can bike, you can meet together for a picnic. And one thing we were just talking about before we came on the air was related to education and involving multiple generations. I'd love to hear, what do you guys do to kind of get different people from different generations together?
Oh, well, last 3 years, it's been a huge push to get the community aware that these properties exist and they're available, free.
Free. You don't have to pay anything to go to these properties.
No, I'll have a story on that in a minute. So many people have no idea what treasures are right around the corner.
I love how you say it's a treasure too.
Yeah.
It really is.
They are. And so what we're trying to do is not just put information out, but let's have events. Let's host some hikes so we can get people out. So things like community hikes, we do one a month.
One hike a month, nice.
For that. And that's anybody in the community who wants to come hike with us. We have one coming up this Sunday at our Candlewood Ridge property.
Awesome.
1 o'clock. Hope we'll see some of you there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So that's a start. And we picked up the Thrive 55 Plus crowd.
Oh, perfect.
They have a very active group. I think they're called the OATS program, Outdoor Active something. But they're great people. They hike with us 2-3 times a year. So that's another segment. We do summer camp with Park and Rec.
Great.
We don't do the summer camp. We host summer camp kids once a week for 5 weeks, and we take them on hikes.
Awesome.
But the big one, my wife, Len, she had this vision. We've got to get school kids out onto the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about it for a while. And we just had a chance meeting with Clint Kennedy, who's involved, running the school system. And he's an avid mountain biker.
Perfect.
And he uses our trails a lot. So he just popped by one time when we were doing a little work party. He stopped to say thank you and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed that he had his badge on saying he worked for public schools. Within a week, because they talked. Within a week, we were sitting in a room with the superintendent, I think 7 principals.
Wow.
And things just happened.
Yeah.
This is our third school year now where we're hosting kids.
Amazing.
That first year, we called them field trips.
Mm-hmm.
We had over 600 students come out and hike with us.
That's great.
And then that was the first year, and last year, same thing. And now we're into the third year, and we're heading towards similar numbers.
That's incredible. Isn't that amazing that just a happenstance, serendipitous meeting like that,
Yeah.
and one person who's so enthusiastic and passionate can make all this happen? And
Yeah, 2 good people,
yeah,
and it just, I think everybody saw what a great opportunity it was. This no cost to the school system.
mm-hmm.
The first year they didn't need any help from us financially because the buses were, field trip buses were free with that contract.
Perfect.
But then that contract ended and so did the free field trip buses. So GOSA kicked in the second year,
Okay.
paid for the buses. And then we got a generous grant from the Kitchings Foundation to pay
Mm-hmm.
for buses for this year.
Nice.
So it's free. So we just want to get people out to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where that story comes in.
Yep. The free story.
We typically hike with the younger kids, like K to 5,
Mm-hmm.
and they're adorable. We have this down pat. A lot of parents will come because they're younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fantastic, positive experience. You'd be surprised. Every time we do it, I'll ask, is there anybody here that's never been in the woods before? Amazing. I'd say 30% of the kids never
Never been in the woods.
No, and like my generation, maybe yours,
Yeah.
that was what we did when
We
we
grew
were
up
able
in the
to go
woods,
play.
yeah. Run
So,
around.
so it's like, wow, I'm so glad we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a lot of times kids that hadn't been in the woods before are so taken by it.
Mm-hmm.
They're excited, and they can't wait to get home and talk to mom and dad about it. So this one young man, probably 2nd, 3rd grader, he said, I can't wait to get home and tell my parents about all this.
How great is that?
And how much does it cost? Like, can we just come here? And then what does it cost us? It's free.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Wow.
Yeah,
And I also wonder too, with some of these kids, they go to the woods for the first time, they share it with their families, and then of course their families might start using the open spaces that you have. But then also, I think a really interesting data point could be looking at these kids over a longer term and seeing the positive impact these open spaces have on them, on their education, on their outcomes. Social, emotional is a huge
goes
issue right
on and
now.
on. Mental health.
For
I mean, everybody.
You're a retired teacher. You know all about students in schools more than most people. So
Well,
it's
the
perfect.
behaviors, some of the behaviors that are an issue in the classroom
Mm-hmm.
disappear when they're outside.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good, and the teachers, the staff, everybody just so happy to be outside.
They're enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have our first spring school hike, 2nd week of March. Come right up.
Cool.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we have 9 more hikes scheduled.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're trying to get the community to come and learn about what's available, and then why should I get out here? Just so many reasons.
Definitely. And maybe you could share a little bit, what do you do? I mean, we're grateful that you took the time today to kind of share some of the story and hopefully get the word out, but how are you doing a lot of this outreach? How are you reaching out to the community?
You mean what, like?
Strategies or channels?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we have really good relationships with the town and the school system.
Perfect.
So, Mark Berry of Park and Rec, I've sat in his office many times. We have, if you need something, he can call me anytime, and
Nice.
you know, it goes both ways. So, you know, he's in charge of the summer camps and the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that relationship, things grow out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the school system.
Yep.
But otherwise, you know, we try to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you wonder just what an impact advertising has, like what we can do. It just seems like face-to-face stuff.
Yep.
Any kind of events that we can provide.
Mm-hmm.
We will go to, if a school has like an open house or whatever, sometimes we'll go and have a table there.
Perfect.
Just to hand out stuff and spread the word. But
and you're active on a few different digital channels, from Instagram and these kind of things, I believe. And then also, I think you mentioned you might have a newsletter that you send out to different people, and there's a blog on your webpage. So it seems like you're doing a bunch of different strategies to get the word out there. That's great.
yeah, we have a webpage we just had it redone a couple years ago.
That's great, yeah.
It's a really good website.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the author for the Notes from the Trail.
Okay.
And I like doing it because it's just another way to, that's really aimed at our membership.
Mm-hmm.
Being on the website, anybody can look at it, but we send that out through MailChimp, so all our members get it. It's a way to connect with them and tell them what's going on.
Yeah, perfect. Tell us more about the membership. How does one become a member? How many members approximately do you have? Can you share any of that information?
I can't give you the exact number of members, but
That's
I'd
fine.
say 400 or 500.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know, we can't function without the membership. You know, they support us financially and
Okay.
otherwise, and very supportive. So we lost my train of thought there for a second.
That's fine. So we have the members, and they support you financially.
Yeah.
And we've also talked that the trails are free. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are kind of curious, how do you operate financially?
Right.
You know, you do a lot in the community. How do you function? Is it
Right.
local?
So financially,
Yep.
we do get so much support from the community,
Mm-hmm.
and donors, and we also again bring in money through grants.
Okay. Since you're a 501c3, you can go off and apply to
Yeah.
pretty much any grant.
Yeah, there's a lot of generous foundations that
Awesome.
are looking to help us, and
Do you have a team of people who kind of go off and do these grants? How does that work?
well, we have a finance committee
A finance committee.
that's just amazing.
Okay.
You know, there's like I think 8 people sit on this committee, and there's a board member who is in charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's fantastic. Janet Anderson is running the finance committee for us.
Okay.
And she has a background with grant writing.
Perfect.
And we're seeing, you know, great results already.
Mm-hmm.
This is like just a little more than a year since she's joined us. She's doing a great job. But we have, you know, a terrific treasurer, and a CPA sits on the committee.
Nice.
You know, we're in great hands.
Uh-huh.
A lot of experience. Our past president before me for many years,
Mm-hmm.
Joan Smith, brings a lot of skill to that position as well,
Mm-hmm.
that committee. So financially, we're for what we have, what we're trying to do, we're doing a pretty good job.
That's great.
You know,
And on top of that, I believe that the chair of the environmental committee up in Hartford, a state representative, is actually the state representative here in Groton,
Mhm.
Representative Bumgardner. Is that correct?
yes, that's true.
So
He's a
that-
friend. He's
Yeah.
a friend of GOSA. Yeah, we love him. Some of the people that are part of our organization
Mm-hmm.
have known Andre since he was really young.
Yeah.
So it's great to see, you know, the connection there. He actually was our guest speaker at our annual meeting last October.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was terrific.
It always helps to have the relationship there in Hartford, that if there's state grants that come up, that you have kind of that inroads and the strong supporter right there for you, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, so we were talking about connections and
Yep.
relationships. So I mentioned the ones that help get people involved with us. But we also have a nice connection with the town, with the planning department and public works. You know, we kind of give and take with them, which also helps us benefit the community and be more integral in making this such a great town.
Definitely.
You know, it's really good.
And it's great to see your passion. You said you moved from Enfield to this area, and just your passion for the trails, the open space, you can really feel it. It's really genuine. It's awesome.
People that are fortunate enough to live here, I hope you appreciate what you have. This is a wonderful town.
Definitely. And I'm a little curious too that most towns around here will have a land trust or an open space association. And I'm curious, maybe you don't have the best answer for this, but just kind of how GOSA, Groton Open Space Association, kind of differs from some of these different land trusts or these different associations. Is there any difference, or is it kind of similar goals and you're trying to go after similar things, but just specific for each town?
There are different kinds of land trusts.
Okay.
We have a land trust that has a couple spaces here in Groton, Avalonia. They do great things. Their mission is more heavily toward acquiring land and protecting it. They do a great job. So they're regional. You know, they're all over the place.
Okay.
A big organization, while we, GOSA, are 100% volunteer.
No paid staff.
Nobody's getting, we have no paid staff.
Okay.
Everybody that runs this organization does so as a volunteer.
That's amazing. And that's the plan moving forward, to keep it that way.
Oh yeah. Yep. And that's a commitment to the community, because there are people that would really like us to consider maybe joining with a larger regional land trust.
Okay.
I think the majority of us feel like there would be benefits to that. However, we would lose the community touch. I'm really proud of where we have such a great part of making Groton be such a nice place.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial to all of us, and I think it's one of those things where you don't always hear how grateful people are when they go out onto the trails, but whenever you go and you see people and families and how much they're enjoying it, I'm sure that just brings you so much joy to see all of that.
It does. We do see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right now I'm heading up the stewardship area of our organization.
What does that entail?
That entails maintaining the trails.
When things grow over,
trees
in
fall
the spring,
over, you know,
trees fall over.
building new trails.
Okay.
We have a new property. We've had it for about a year.
Oh, congratulations.
And,
what is that?
It's called the Center Groton Preserve.
Okay.
That has taken over a year to get to the point where we can start work, because their surveying found so many iffy boundaries that it was painstaking work, and it's just finished recently. So now that that's done, now we finally get to go in and start blazing trails.
That's the fun part, right?
Yeah, and we have a fantastic group of people that volunteer to come out.
And this is something that viewers and people in the community, if they want to help blaze a trail, they can join the party, right?
They can.
No prior experience needed?
No. We have people as young as high school kids to 70s, 80s that come out.
And everything in between.
Everything in between. And we're so happy to be out together to do this kind of stuff. And that's the tie-in was what you were saying, is hearing people say thank you. We'll be out working. You know, there's parts, some of our properties have trails that go through an area where if you just ignore a place for a month, the trail started out this wide, it's now this wide, because everything's growing so fast. So that's a lot of what we do. So we'll be out keeping a trail, cleared and whatever, and people will come by and they invariably will say, "Thank you.
That's nice.
We love the properties and the opportunity to get out here."
Mm-hmm.
So that's rewarding.
That's awesome. And I'm curious, we just have a couple minutes left here, so need to wrapping up here. A couple questions, but one I'm curious is if you have any heroes or people you really admire in the whole conservation space, maybe John Muir from Muirwoods, or is there someone who kind of inspires you to follow this path, or is it something innate in you that you love and you just go do it for that reason and that's enough?
Well, there are people that I admire, and Muir is one of them.
Okay.
We've been lucky enough to get out west
Beautiful.
and hike in Muir Woods and things like that. But I think we talked a little bit before we started.
Mm-hmm.
I think my generation and yours as well, when it was, okay, go out and play,
Yep.
heading for the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us. And so when I tell the story that kids have never been in the woods, we're the same reaction. What? How could that be?
Yep.
But I think that's what drives me and pretty much most of us. Our current president,
Uh-huh.
Betsy Chittenden, her career was with the National Park Service.
Nice.
So she brings in a lot of that,
Mm-hmm.
inspirational stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And we have to wrap up here, but if people want to find out more about GOSA, get involved with the organization, blaze a trail maybe, how do we find out more? How can we get in touch?
Well, thank you. We have lots of different needs. We're always looking for volunteers. So if that sounds like something you'd like to learn more about, well, first head to our webpage. It's gosaonline.org. And you'll first enjoy the website. There's tons of information, photos, maps, descriptions. We'd like to think that we get a lot of people join us just from looking at that.
Definitely.
But there's a little tab on the side, and one says Get Involved. Click on it, and you'll fill out, a couple little things, name and how to get a hold of you, and then we go from there.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, Dan. Great to have you on the show, and thanks for all that you do in the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was great.